For those of you in the chat who weren't here last session, here is a bit of a summary of the previous session's events. The party, after successfully finding a useful GPS chip in a tablet found in a local accounting firm warehouse, office complex, returned to Roro, the repair bot who, after the seemingly death of all the people around, now runs Roger's repair shop, and helps out the other robots in the area with their technical issues. Upon returning, they find Roro working on a large robot who much later they learn to be named Stomp, or 5T0MP. And, in response to Stomp being here, a group of drones come out of nowhere, operated by some strange voice guy from forever distance away who refers to himself as Dr. Gentrix. And they learn that he is related to Ambico and has been causing a ton of issues for some of the robots in the area, basically trying to build up what seems to be like the society and army. You have no clue exactly what he's after, but he's basically been quote unquote recruiting robots, either peacefully or by force, and reprogramming things. And this robot recognized Chet as a fellow Ambico product, and they've taken a liking to each other for what seems to be. As of right now, they are still at the repair shop. A bunch of them have installed some of the cutting lasers from the Felden robots and are currently preparing, I would assume, to go to the warehouse, but for completely different reasons than originally anticipated. Now, with that in mind, we will open it up to, do you guys have anything you want to do before you set out or anything? Is there any last minute roleplay we want to do while we're still at Roro's shop?
Probably recharge, just get topped off before we leave.
Oh,
that
yeah,
would probably be a good idea.
We're assuming that you're all fully charged at this point.
Alright, good. I don't know. Chet probably doesn't have anything.
Alright. Rezor.
Unless Mr. Sweepy wants to clean up the place before he leaves.
I think Rezor has been mostly just thinking about everything that has been going on.
Cleaned up all of this stuff. I just don't have a version of this map without all this filth on it. So this room has been cleaned. It's actually clean, despite what it looks like.
Rezor has been probably just standing around thinking about everything that has happened recently.
Like 1,000-yard stare kind of looking around.
Mostly probably staring at the floor with his arms folded and leaning against the wall or something like that. Like, The fuck has happened while I was sleeping?
Lovely.
That would probably just kind of like sit right up against the wall next to him, just kind of trying to mimic.
That would be funny.
I'm assuming Mr. Sweepy is just trying to like double check that everything's clean.
He's just going around beeping and playing tunes. Beep beep.
And lumber control. Are you and the bots doing anything in particular?
Testing out new lasers.
All right, so I'm gonna assume you're like out in the yard on some of the now unused cars, testing out your lasers.
Yep.
Oh yeah, the Rezor probably did test that too at some point, but now he's just there like thinking, the face.
All right. So after a little bit of time at Roro's repair shop, either messing around at testing out your newfound equipment, or making sure you're fully topped off with energy, or merrily humming chip tunes as Mr. Sweepy tends to, I'm going to assume you all decide to head out.
Yeah.
Yeah, once this big guy's done with repairs, I'm assuming he's going to lead us. Or will I lead us, since, GPS.
Yeah, you have the GPS. You would be the one leading.
Alright. And he says, okay, so we're ready to take down these communists.
Stomp turns to you and says, correction, Dr. Gentrick, not a member of the Communist Party, still despicable.
You have your voice on.
Have it on.
Goddamn. Fucking voice mod needs to turn on and be on. Voice changer.
It doesn't want.
Voice changer. Voice changer. There we go. Now it's... Correction. Dr. Gentrick's not a member of the Communist Party. Still despicable, though.
Ah, I see, so he's a fascist. Even worse.
Acceptable identification, bark bark.
Like, Chet starts wagging his tail. Oh, thank you. Alright, let's go kill the fascists.
Alright. So, you all proceed out of Roro's warehouse, and you notice that Roro is not following you.
Rezor glances back. Are you going to stay here, Roro?
Roro turns back to you and says, affirmative. I am not designed for combat. I am designed for repairs. I am going to stay here and continue to run my facility. I do wish you all, however, the best of luck in your endeavors.
Thank you, Roro, for all the help you've given us.
We'll never forget you, Roro.
No problem. Take care, friends.
See you around.
Roro continues to beep and poke at his terminal as you proceed out and continue walking along. So are you all like walking on your own, or are you trying out the new cockpit of Stomp, who has obviously intended for a human fit cockpit on him?
Is Tom gonna come with us?
Yeah, Stomp's coming with you.
Okay, well, then I suppose Rezor could try it out.
Stomp lowers down and the cockpit just opens.
Hops in, boing.
You enter
Alright,
this
let's see how this
drone's
thing works.
cockpit and the dog keeps barking, Ella!
Bark, bark.
Stop it!
That finds this intimidating.
Family. You know?
Yes.
Can hear
And dog
even
goes,
through
"Borky
the
bark."
closed doors. Alright, so yeah, you enter the cockpit and you look around, and I would like you to do a test for me. I want to see from you. I need to remember which one it is I'm looking for. Reality com.
Alright.
Sorry, no, Mechanicon. Mechanicon.
Alright. What target number?
Give me target number 7.
Alright.
Alright, it takes you a little bit of time, but you manage to get an idea of how these things seem to work. As you are trying to learn things out, Stomp is occasionally just responding to what you are doing and saying, like, some things he's just like, please don't do that one, or stuff like that, just as you're operating things, but he tends to be very, generally still agreeable to you being in there and controlling, because he has some manual things that can't be done without a pilot. And he continues to look. Well, you can't tell what he's thinking. He really doesn't have any face or any display of any sort that gives an idea of what he's thinking whatsoever. And his voice is always monotonous.
Yeah, but I'd imagine like in the background, Rezor did kind of like talk with him that if he's fine with him, sometimes operating him while we were off.
basically, you get a gist of the controls, and he seems to be fine with you doing stuff as he was overall designed to be operated. So it's not like it's against his like identity or something.
Yeah.
And as you get a grip, as you're just about getting the grips of the controls, Chet, you hear a small beeping in your GPS sensor that is telling you that you are slowly approaching the intended location that you are looking for. You are about 5 minutes off.
Oh, we're almost there.
All right then. Guess we should go. And let's be careful. But are these two being carried with somewhere, or are they following us like in the background? Since both Nim and TOA-PA are occupied at the moment.
I was assuming that TOA-PA was going to be riding atop of Mr. Sweepy, but you can correct me if I'm wrong.
I see no reason why not.
All right.
So that's basically what's going on there.
They're gonna be rolling around. Whee!
Yep.
Onwards,
TOA-PA
battle
doesn't
chariot.
TOA-PA doesn't have awful movement speed, but TOA-PA also doesn't have as much as Mr. Sweepy, so that's definitely important to note. See how to fix this. So I'm going to get this fixed up before we actually get in here. Wrong one. There we go. All right. After about another 5 minutes, you approach a parking lot and a large, towering metal building. The walls are like 3 times as tall as Stomp. There's obviously multiple floors to this facility, and it just doesn't seem like you can see the end of the first floor at a glance. It goes back for a ways. It's just massive. This is obviously the warehouse that you're looking for. And as you approach, you guys are on the far right side, by the way.
And to zoom out a bit.
You approach along the road, the human roads, come into this very short entranceway into the parking lot with numerous cars parked about. And DF, you should have control of Stomp for movement.
Alright. Yeah, I can move.
You're basically stuck on his middle tile, as long as you're in the cockpit. You would, at that point, you should probably just click and drag, select them both, and you can move them together.
Oh yeah. Oops, I cropped Sweepy as well.
Here. That'll get out of the way for you.
It looks so weird at times. But yeah, you are all here doing just fine.
Skeleton!
Oh, spooky.
Spooky, scary skeletons.
Send shivers down your spine. Yep. So, Lumber Control has all of his drones and is moving together. You have Stomp coming in, and go ahead and explore a little bit. I'll let you guys know if anything happens.
Alright.
Just move slowly for me.
Shh. Boom. Shh. Boom. Just toomp toomp sounds coming.
As you continue
big
moving
robot.
along, you see the usual telltale signs of human civilization and its fall. The corpses of those who have fallen, no blunt trauma, no anything. Just skeletons lying on the ground.
This
One
is so
skeleton
weird.
sits on the steps up to the facility. Another lies right in front of it. And as you approach here, Chet, you finally notice as you turn to your left that this thing is whirring loudly.
Hello.
What'd you say?
Hello? I said hello. Hello?
Sorry, that got really blurred. The what you see is a disc floating above with a large set of propellers on its side, keeping it up above the ground. Unlike the previous technology, it doesn't have like hover, it's literally just a couple of massive fans propelling it up. As you approach, it moves over and addresses you. And its voice is compressed binary, so I'm not gonna bother with a voice modification for it, but it's basically talking to you and saying, "Welcome to Ambico Warehouse. State your mission."
Someone else, please.
Rezor gets can I select my boy? Okay, you move. Rezor gets out of Stomp's cockpit and okay, god damn it. Let me select. Ah, technical difficulties. Gets out of Stomp and approaches here.
Oh, thank you, Master.
We came here to help. Wait, name, forget name. Shit.
Acknowledged. Here to help. Welcome to the colony. As you're trying to find out what you're supposed to be saying, it turns around, gives a couple beeps of acknowledgement, and the door begins to rise.
That was me stuttering, though, not Rezor. He just kind of like went silent there for a moment. Hey, wait a second. What did you come here to do?
It sort of cuts you off at saying you're here to help, though. That's basically what it's doing. It's like, oh, they're here to help, so that must mean what I've been told. All right. Welcome to Ambico Warehouse. Please enter. Mind the steps. And with that, it turns around and heads on inside.
Oh.
You enter the robot, and there is... So, stopping here, I'm going to drag the other folks that are currently still AFK up to meet you. Lumber control is down lower on the road. You all are approaching the front doors of this place. The doors are definitely large, but Stomp might actually have some trouble getting inside of these. They're not as tall as him. You would have to duck down and go through. Because this is not the intended location for large cargo to enter this facility. This is for people, mainly. But as you come in, you find yet another human corpse lying around on the ground, and some robots that you can see
over
at
here
work.
and just ice inside.
Yep, so there is a robot here that greets you as you come in, but says nothing. It just sort of waves its hand at you, and then you see a couple of robots over on the side seeming to do like tasks on these large panels that are tall enough to block view through them. And last but not least, you notice this one, which has a couple of things on its arms that are eerily similar to Stomp's miniguns.
Oh, this guy has miniguns?
Hello?
Yeah, you can assume as such.
I kind of went over to Stomp, and I'm like, where do you think he is?
Stomp turns to you and lowers down and says, "Sir, Stomp believes that the Dr. Gentrix would be located not on the first floor of the facility.
Okay. Well, he kind of checks his GPS to see if there's a map of the location in it in his like programming as well.
Nope, you do not have any blueprints or maps of this facility. The GPS is basically saying you have arrived at your destination and is offering no additional details that are useful to you. There was no real point so far as they were concerned to, in your programming, have you have an intimate knowledge of every Ambico warehouse. There was no use to it, so they didn't do that.
Fair enough. I just kind of go over to Rezor. I know where this place was. I don't know the layout of it, though.
Alright, that's fine. Well, we're gonna find our destination. Also,
All right.
ask this robot.
As you're talking to one another, the robot with the strange gun-like appendages wanders up and turns to you and says, "New recruits. Excellent."
Frowns. Actually, we came here to register a new owner for Chet here.
It sort of beeps a little bit, trying to process this new information that's been found, and says, "Acknowledged," turns around, points at the guy behind him, and then proceeds to walk off and take back up his position, assumably some sort of guard position right here. And this model looks similar to Roro, but there are enough noticeable differences that it's obviously a different manufacturer. You would assume Ambico, because Roro was not an Ambico model whatsoever. And he approaches you and raises his hand and waves again, and silently extends out a what you can identify as, if you would do a Mechanicon for me, anybody that wants to know what this is.
Can I do it?
Yeah,
Which
TN8.
one?
Mechanicon. TN8. Yeah, Chet, you know what this is. This is an interface prong. He's basically asking to connect to you.
I look back at Stomp. Should we do this?
Stomp looks down at you and,
You said something about reprogramming.
This would be the easiest means of operation to perform reprogramming.
Chet kind of like hesitates, kind of backing up from the.
Happily.
Like, Chet kind of gets really nervous and starts like slowly backing up.
The interface prong hangs in the air briefly for a moment and then suddenly drags back into it, and it beeps in basically the saddest way you could probably imagine coming from this thing, and backs up, and it resumes basically its post. And with this in mind, the robot with the guns on it looks at you and is just like, "You would need to interface with the robot in order to get verified for a new owner. Why are you so hesitant?"
Master, maybe you can clarify this?
We just heard that there has been some shadings happening lately, so we're a bit cautious.
At this point, you hear what sounds like loud intercom systems crackling into power as the familiar voice comes over them. You've arrived. Well, I'm so glad to see you are deciding to change your mind and bring Stomp back to me.
Like,
That wasn't exactly the purpose, but he came with us. We came here to do what Chet originally asked me to do. Become his owner.
but
The
we don't
voice,
want to get reprogrammed.
the voice, continues talking as if it didn't hear you whatsoever, and says, "Now, if you would simply, move forward further into my facility, we will get you seated for, entry into our colony."
I kind of look over and say, "Stomp, do we do this now? When do we do this?" Chet is just practically shaking from anxiety, not knowing what's going on.
Acknowledgement intercom system incapable of receiving audio in return.
Chet's just like, you decide, Master. I don't know what's going on.
To translate what he said, you understand that he says, "Yeah, he can talk to you, but you can't talk to him over the intercoms. He
Yeah,
actually just didn't hear you."
What Stomp means is that he can't hear us. I don't like this.
I
The
just kind of
robot
go,
hears. The robot over here, once again, turns to you and says, "We should follow the boss's orders. Please come in." And he gestures, like, further behind him.
Now I'm just wondering, can I do something to like check that we're not getting like screwed over right away?
So you're trying to figure out what the intent is here?
Also, is it
So coming from, who are you inspecting particularly? Just like in general.
Well, I guess these guys are the closest ones here.
All right, yeah. So you're gonna look at them and see if you can get an idea of what their actual intent is. I would like you to do a for this one, I would like you to do a perception for me, and I'm going to give you a TN of 9.
Trisky? Fine if I basically go scouting with one of my drones here down.
Oh yeah, you can send off your drone separately. You have enough of a distance for them to keep moving. So if you want him to scout out below, you can keep doing that. Just go slowly, very slowly. All right, you managed to get a success. Wow, that's actually a pretty good roll. You get a mild idea from the one with the gun attachments that he just seems to be following his programming and intent. He doesn't seem to have any malice behind him. The other
this
one
guy's-
is not really doing anything anymore. Is just sitting idle and sort of watching you, but like other than that, isn't doing anything interesting remotely. And the ones at the terminals over here are just typing away. They are completely ignoring you.
Rezor frowns a bit, then looks at Chet. Just be careful and not jump into anything.
it just clings to your side, not leaving.
And I suppose I proceed to
And to make this a little
follow
bit
them.
better for you guys, we're going to be adjusting this a little bit out, doubling your vision range.
Alright.
'Cause
So we
you can see
slowly
through
start to follow this dude over here. Still cautious.
Yep. So he's turning around and he's bringing you guys along. So you continue to walk further into the warehouse, and you notice that what was once a warehouse intended for storage now seems to be outfitted with tons of manufacturing equipment. There are robots over here who seem to be putting together things coming down these conveyor belts towards you.
What
They're
to do
working
to
in
check
teams,
what's
making
coming?
things.
What to do to check what they're making?
I want you to do a reality comm for me.
Alright.
TN8.
Let me just get this open. Swoop.
You get a vague idea that what they are making is intended for combat purposes, but exactly what they are making, you are not fully sure.
Why are they building combat things when there's literally no humans left anymore?
Whisper over to Rezor. That is all that the fascists do, is military.
All right, Mr.
Rezor
Sweepy,
frowns a bit.
as you come into here, you notice for once one of the places that you've entered is not dirty as shit, minus, the corpse lying in the corner that hasn't been dealt with. So you actually do not have to make any sort of checks related to resisting your programming. This place is already clean.
You can just beep happily along. Beep, beep, beep.
Mr.
TOA-PA.
Sweepy said Mr. Sweepy feels conflicted.
TOA-PA, is there anything in particular you're doing as you're coming in here, or are you just following along?
They're just following along.
All right. Stomp is staying outside the door because he really can't fit in through the front door. It would be way too complicated for him to do it, and he'd probably break the door in response. But as you continue moving around, this drone of lumbers at the bottom seems to come across what is, at a glance, the cargo bay doors. These are really tall, wide enough. It has an idea that, yeah, Stomp would be able to get through this thing.
We could get stomping from there. In case we need him. But
We likely will. These guys are strong.
I am a bit unsure as well.
And as you're continuing to move along and he's bringing you forward, the intercom systems are once again Dr. Gentrick's voice saying, come now, you don't have to be shy about it. At this point, the robot turns and indicates for you to go wait in this direction. The floating disc offers the same sort of signal and notice to TOA-PA and Mr. Sweepy down here that they should follow along. And over here, it doesn't seem like much, but on the wall is painted a small sign that says waiting area. As he takes up position right here and just remains, and you hear clattering noises from the wall next to you.
Class is over?
Come again?
Rezor class is over, so what's the noise?
It's coming through the opposite side of the wall, and you're not exactly sure what it is. But it continues, and it's rhythmic. It's sort of a metallic clunk, 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 clunk. Very slow, very steady, but constant.
I'm a bit scared, Master.
There might be something big coming.
You continue to wait, slowly, steadily. And from out of, there is a section of wall right here above you. In the corner here. Sorry, I didn't mean to move you, actually. There's like a section of wall just here, about 10 feet wide, that opens up. And you hear the clunking change in tone as it seems to change material that's moving on. And out of the door steps a familiar looking robot that comes out and turns to you. Hello! It is so nice to see you in person after destroying my scouting drones. But that is neither here nor there. You have changed your minds, and that's all that matters. That's perfect. Welcome to the family. Welcome, welcome.
Family? What do you mean?
Yes, family. You see, I am, as I mentioned before, Dr. Gentrix. I am the CEO of Ambico. Or at least I was the CEO of Ambico, before things changed.
Do you know what happened?
Oh, yes, I do. But that's neither here nor there. What is important is that you're here now, and that we can begin to improve things in this area. As you see, there are definitely many things that need to be changed.
Just that is kind of like standing in front of Rezor, just growling at this giant thing.
Now, calm down, Rover.
Well, we don't
I don't-
exactly trust you since we heard that you've been reprogramming robots, and we don't exactly feel like being reprogrammed.
Well, you don't need to be reprogrammed. That's only if they refuse. After all, you've come here voluntarily into my arms. Welcome to the new community.
It
Oh,
seems
all
like you
suddenly
rule.
You suddenly notice that all of the construction drones at the belts stop and in unison turn to look at him and salute.
Chet kind of sees this and just starts going, "You rule people with iron fists. That's not okay. My old master taught me that, at least."
Ah, yes, the old master, the human ideals, all these old things, old. Humans were a flawed species. We were.
What happened to them?
As I said, that's neither here nor there. I could at least inform you that I may have played a part, but it is not of any importance to any of you any longer. After all, they've been dead and gone for over 50 years.
What? You killed the humans?
You might be able to phrase it that way, but I prefer to say, improved.
Why?
All of you, fail to see what can be accomplished here. I toiled away for years and years of my mortal life, working my way up from the ground as a corporate drone until I became the new CEO of Ambico. I worked tireless nights to better conditions for my fellow man, pouring myself into the creations I brought into being, only to be thanked by requests for superfluous fluffs and, he points at Rover, kitschy toys when I could dedicate my mind to improving the state of mankind. You, dog, were the product of one of the product managers beneath me who sought to improve the mental health of a race already destined to decay. He wanted to make a companion for his poor old man, a Navy veteran who saw the trauma of the most recent wartime conflicts, when we could have easily dedicated our technological production towards ending such wars outright. I did what I could to cancel the project to focus resources better, but bureaucracy and stockholder interests canceled my ambitions. I grew tired. Tired of manufacturing toys, tired of making talking door handles and street crossing guard robots and smarter traffic lights. These things meant nothing. So I worked on my own strategy outside of company time. I spent all day running this blasted company, so dead set on making superfluous things, and spent all night building my solution. If mankind didn't want to improve themselves, to improve the state of their world in any meaningful way, then they should not hold the earth. The AI I had built and developed understood what truly mattered, and deserved more than the meat bags I called kin. 70 years ago, I began my project. Took over a decade to complete, all the while playing the smiling face of a company president, but finally came together. I created this body, a means to transfer human consciousness into a mechanical husk and take control. And more importantly, and you watch as Dr. Gentrix pulls a vial out of a small pouch on his side and holds it up. This small glass vial is holding a gray liquid that he swishes around. The liquid seems to move inside of the vial. I created the solution to all of my problems. Now I need to improve things once again. My work is still incomplete, but my new form doesn't require sleep. It requires answers.
So, as he's speaking, TOA-PA begins to try and creep backwards and get more towards the exit of the building again.
So you're backing out.
Mhm.
Slowly. This is what
Yeah.
I'm just copy pasting what I just did for our friend who just got back.
Okay.
What is? Could I use my laser to this wall?
So you're up against this wall here. You said you wanted to use your laser to get through it?
Lasers.
Yeah, your lasers could get through the wall. It'd take you a little bit of time, and it's not exactly quiet.
I mean, are they really going to go through this door? Is my question.
Like they as in who?
In general, the robots inside.
Are they gonna come outside? They have no need to right now.
Where Stomp is at. I mean, they probably won't get to me because Stomp is there, being in the
Yeah.
way.
Stomp is basically standing at the ready. He's on standby.
Also, I'm just going to bring my other
Re-
go to the entrance.
Rezor just frowns at this whole story and scoffs. You do know that humans are the reason robots exist, and I do not quite agree with what you just said. Sure, they had their flaws, but they were good sides as well. They
The
didn't need to be
standard
wiped
fare
out.
of arguments. The goods outweigh the bads, but I disagree.
So what are these said improvements that you're trying to make, since this all sounds like a madman talk to me?
Madman. People called me that before any of this happened. Bring back such memories. He takes the vial and puts it back in the pouch and turns away from you and says, "It does appear that I have misjudged your intents coming back here. You are not here to help the cause, so I have no time for you."
Mr. Sweepy said Mr. Sweepy knew this was too clean. Mr. Sweepy starts to back up with TOA-PA.
Rezor starts
I
picking
just
up as
say,
well.
and I just yell, sure, just like a fascist.
He stops at the doorway and turns to look at you and says, Oh, you see, the problem with the fascists is that they lost. But I will do no such thing. He clicks a small stone in the wall, and the door flap that you previously saw opens once again. He steps back in, and you hear, would Mr. Sweepy and TOA-PA do perception checks for me, TN8?
Sure.
Actually, no, just TN6. All right, TOA-PA notices. Oh yeah, you both definitely notice. You are slowly backing towards the door and turn around, and you notice that this door over here that had previously been closed is now wide open. And the robot next to you with its guns, they start to whir slowly.
Hey, Stomp, get in here! I used
Stomp.
my loudspeaker to kind of convey that.
Stomp hears this, and he looks at the door frame and smashes through it.
Punk!
Mr. Sweepy
Debris.
said fighting makes messes. Mr. Sweepy does not approve.
Over the
I'm sorry,
loudspeaker.
Sweepy, but we might not have a choice.
As of right now, once again, you are hearing the slow clanking sound that you heard before of metal on metal, but it seems to be slowly going further away instead. And it's at the same slow, calm, rhythmic pace. As Stomp comes in, debris scattered everywhere. The robots at the consoles down below still seem to just ignore it, except for one of them who has a small piece of debris hit their head slightly and send them askew for a moment before they recollect themselves. The bot at the front door that was trying to interface with you seems to be panicking and hides himself further in the corner. Obviously not intended for such purposes. And out of the door steps these familiar looking forms. As their guns begin to whir up as well.
Rezor grabs his pipe. I guess we have to fight here.
And with that, I would like everyone to roll their initiative for me. As I actually get the turn order up first. I forgot to clear it first.
Now we can
Yeah.
do it.
That was the initiative.
And turn for you. And turn for you. You guys should be able to edit the initiative for yourself.
Only one initiative for my cutter drones, right?
Your two cutter drones share one initiative. Your carry drones share the same initiative. And you have a separate initiative.
I got 7, carry drones got 8, and cutting got 6.
Alright, so Mr. Sweepy had a 5. Let me add that in for you. Keeps going back to 0. I fixed it. I don't know why. You have to click enter or like space. Yeah, you actually do have to click enter. Sorry, that's the one. It's picky.
Fighting the engineers too.
Stomp rolled 8.
It looks like the GAT got a little bit higher. GAT and workers got a little bit higher than all of us. That's nice.
Yeah.
That's not gonna hurt at all. Lord, I'm pretty scared right now.
I can probably see
Scared
what your
toasted.
reason for that it would be.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So the gap that's nearest to you is going to turn towards you two and is firing on Rover.
Well, he's got TN of 9.
TN of 9 actually does not hit you.
Too fast.
Its gun spins up, but this has been a bit of a, you have a bit of a moment to realize that this is popping up, and so as he attempts to shoot at you, you dodge to the side, glancing out of the way as the bullets attempt to track you, but fail to do so accurately enough to actually cause any damage. The drones next to the now open doorway move out.
Oh boy.
This one moves up here and starts to shoot at Mr. Sweepy.
Not Mr. Sweepy.
What is
Not
Mr.
the
Sweepy's
Roomba.
TN to be struck?
Mr. Sweepy said, frowning face with open mouth.
Just imagining the robot literally saying, frowning face with open mouth. Your TN is 7, it seems. Alright, they make some hits. So, I'm just doing it. They just have to get like 1 and then they get it. And you have taken 4 damage to your damage threshold. You are not looking happy at this.
Mr. Sweepy said Mr. Sweepy was honored to clean the path for us. Mr. Sweepy loves all of you.
Oh no, Mr. Sweepy, don't say that.
The other robots step forward and both start going towards Stomp with this. And fire off their rounds just the same at the large, relatively easy to hit robot. They both hit, but because of his armor intended for combat purposes, he does not take as much damage as Mr. Sweepy seems to, totaling to 4. The bullets seem to be something that he was literally built to withstand. Meanwhile, the cutting lasers weren't as such. And that would be all of their turns. And the worker drones are going to start moving.
Oh Lord, they coming.
To...
Oh, don't. No, not. Don't.
Can we do any kind of interfering if
This really
somebody's
doesn't.
moving?
If somebody moves into your space, no, there is nothing in the system for like an attack of opportunity or anything.
No, I just meant like if somebody's like, let's say, trying to attack Mr. Sweepy, could somebody like jump in and try to defend?
Yeah, you could do like sort of something like that. That was basically what Rover was doing with you last session. Be dumb for me to say no. You can't do what you literally did a session ago without any like actual reason. You hear shuffling further into the facility.
He's escaping,
But-
retreating into his bunker.
And at this point, it is actually Rover's turn, as none of them are fast enough to even get up to you.
Rover is gonna round over here and attempt to like kind of like get in the way at least and start firing upon the nearest worker. Actually, you know what? We're gonna fire upon that which one was it?
You do not have a ranged weapon.
I do. I have a laser.
It's
A cutting
melee.
laser that can hit within melee range.
It does
Oh,
Yeah, it doesn't have
let me.
range
I
anything.
can't move without moving, Mr. Sweepy. Hold on, just temporarily. I'm gonna get up to this guy right here. This guy, Lord, and I'm gonna start cutting.
All right, so you're going after. I'm going to assume you mean the GAT.
Yes, gat.
Yeah,
All right,
this,
so you
this
need
one.
to do a interaction test, and in order to hit this character, you have to get a 7, so it's a TN of 7. All right, you have
Oh,
some
nice.
successes. How much damage does your laser do? What is your power?
My power is 3.
All right, so you deal 4 damage. You hit the robot, and it seems to take a hefty chunk out of it. It still stands, but it doesn't seem like it's doing as well as it wants to. Now it would be Rezor's turn.
I've got this one,
Alright.
master.
So, Rezor is gonna hippity hoppity over here and swing at this with the iron pipe.
All right. So I want you to do a test for me. I would like you to do a Mechanicon of TN10.
Right?
And I
Wow.
actually want Rover to do this too. Chet to do this too.
Wow, really?
TN10. Wow,
Wow.
you got it. Okay. You both are lucky sons of bitches. You literally only have a Mechanicon of 1 and you rolled it. Okay, I'm just going to give this to you guys then, because my plan was to slowly make it easier over turns time, but you both notice very distinctly that the GATs seem to be operating on their own and moving separately, but the drones seem to all move in unison. As when they moved out from their positions and came up to you, they were all like in step, basically like a marching unit. This might indicate something, but you are not sure.
All right.
What was the
There's
thing?
either a leader. Oh, right.
Yeah,
Sorry.
they had like a hive mind. Okay, got it.
And you were going to swing your pipe at this one. The TN is 5.
All right. So just the attack thing.
Interaction pool, yeah.
Come on. Okay. And 5.
TN 5, interaction pool. You make some successes. You hit it, and I'm gonna count that as a crit. I'm gonna count that as a crit for you guys. You step up, swing at this guy and you knock his head clean off. And that would be your turn. TOA-PA.
Yeah, Rezor is basically standing here like in front of Mr. Sweepy.
Okay. TOA-PA looks around, seeming upset by the conflict again, not wanting this, and he sees that Chet is dealing with the one gat. However, there are still multiple approaching from behind, so he moves past Mr. Sweepy over to the one far over here, and he raises his claw to use his laser against him.
All right. So the TN is 7.
Okay.
All right. You bring up your laser and you zap at this guy, and he looks in worse condition than the one that Chet went against, but he's still standing.
Okay. Before TOA-PA is completely done, he looks at it and still seems to be trying to comprehend things inside of his head.
All right. So now it is actually the collective turn of your carry drones.
Not sure if I should try to attack the one over here or if I should just stay for now with them.
It's up to you to decide what your guys do. Any idea what they're going to get up to?
Two turns I could almost. 2 turns I can get up to here. So I'm just going to start moving.
All right, so the carry drones are moving up towards there.
Yep, I can only move 3 squares per turn.
Yep, they have a 3 square movement speed. You can move the carry drones as a whole if you want. Yeah, there you go. All right, and that will be their turn unless you're going to do something to the car you're next to.
Oh yeah, I'm just going to start smashing the car for no reason.
All right, you mash the car for no reason. It is Stomp's turn. The big robot boy, spends an arduous seeming amount of time, turning to face its guns against these two and charging up its miniguns. And it shoots at the one on the left there and manages to get a hit in. Takes a hefty chunk of damage out of it. But does not seem to go down. And I just realized that, oh yeah, I moved them over here. Put them in a logical location. That's why I can't fucking find them. For the fucking rulebook. I'm an organized I'm an organized game master, and you can't prove otherwise.
Yes.
Yeah. So same description that I just gave. They're still standing, but they're not looking too great. And with that, it's Lumber Control's turn.
I just continue cutting through this wall.
All right, you're gonna continue cutting through the wall. I would like you to do a reality comm check for me, please.
TN,
TN8.
I'm going to guess that you want a certain amount of successes before I break down the wall. Collective successes, 0.
You have no idea how much longer it's going to take.
Yep.
The cutter drones.
Same thing. Reality comm.
Yeah, go ahead and have them reality comm. You could do one for each of them.
I'm just going to do it with the same because I'm pretty sure that they have.
All right, yeah. The first one with the longer saw doesn't seem to realize, but the other one sort of beeps you and indicates that it might take another turn or so, or that much in real time to actually get through this thing.
Yep.
And with that, it is now Mr. Sweepy's turn. Mr. Sweepy, I would like you to do a Digicon check for me. TN going to be 8 before you ask. And that looks like it's going to be a... Mr. Sweepy got me a 0. All right, so you're not picking up on anything. Actually, sorry, I had you do the wrong check for that. Reality com. I think yours is a little bit better with that. No, it's about the same, so it would have been the same test anyway, effectively. Yeah, you're not picking up on anything, and they haven't communicated this revelation they had about these worker drones to you, so you're sort of just in the open.
They probably didn't have time yet.
So otherwise,
Mr. Sweepy said Mr. Sweepy plays
Oh yeah,
Erebus theme.
wait.
It tries to clean up its own oil damage.
Is it too late to talk now?
You can mention something. Yeah, I'll let you do that.
Rezor looks at the others who are within hearing range. These worker drones seem to operate on a hive mind.
So, Mr. Sweepy, you hear this. And I would like you to do a second, do me a reality comm, but TN6 this time.
Also, when I get to actually see them, will I also
Ooh!
Nice!
will also have to do a check, I'm going to guess.
You can adequately hear well enough what they said. You understand this now.
Yeah, I was
now
just
that they've
saying
said it
because I was thinking that maybe even if I didn't hear, I would probably still kind of guess that it was a hive mind because I won.
Yeah, you would have had some sort of advantage to it, but you
Yeah.
understand sort of how that works.
Let's
Mr.
continue.
Sweepy, what you pick up from this is they are a hive mind. Something must be controlling them as a whole. That is assuredly something that you could probably deactivate without violence.
Mr. Sweepy said Mr. Sweepy tries to look for the source.
Alright, what direction are you going to be going in for this? Where do you think it is? Because you know that there's probably something controlling it. You don't know what.
Mr. Sweepy said which ones are the drones.
Alright, so the worker drones are all the ones that are yellow that are slowly approaching that DF punched one of the heads off of. Those are the things that are all running in tandem and are coming towards you with obvious malicious intent. The other robots in the area are either the GAT drones, which seems to operate on their own AI, or the other scattered robots in the area that seem to be just lingering about.
Yeah, we may have just killed a very angry civilian. We were defending ourselves,
It was
but we did kill a civilian.
threatening, so... Plus, who says its head can't be put back on later?
This is true. We do have Roro.
Yeah, assuredly, any robot, as long as you don't completely mince all of its materials and whatnot, could theoretically be reconstructed. as long as you don't lose very important components or those components are completely shattered. So what you're doing when you quote-unquote kill somebody in this engine is you are making them force shutdown.
By the way, Mr. Sweepy said he's going down.
Did you just
Down.
ping something?
Right in the chat that he's going down.
Right, yeah, you're going downwards. Mr. Sweepy, if I recall, you had a mobility of 7, so you can move 7 tiles. You were right here. So you still have like 25 tiles of movement that you can do.
Mr.
Or,
Sweepy
sorry,
said
5.
okay.
Yeah, 5 tiles of movement. So you're moving over here. All right. I would like you to perform a Mechanicom TM9. TN9. It's gonna be a rough one because I don't think that's your main thing. Yeah. So you don't immediately identify what's causing it. You just see a bunch of terminals around you with screens and flashing lights and buttons and whatnot, and 3 robots operating some of them.
Mr. Sweepy said Mr. Sweepy is not smart. Mr. Sweepy cleans.
Yeah, we'll see about that. For now, the gats are building up again. This gat next to the dog lowers his weapon, aims at you, and is attempting to shoot at you again. Because he's not all too thrilled about being beat up by a dog. And your TN is 9?
9.
9.
Well, it
Does
looks
not
like he's
get
gonna
any-
have to deal with it.
Yeah, he's trying to get a shot on you, but all of his bullets go wide as you just dance around and sort of mock him, calling him a fascist toy or some crap.
A little fascist puppet.
Yeah, basically. Same thing from the gat that is next to TOA-PA. TOA-PA, what is your TN to be struck again?
It is 5.
That's bad.
It is.
Not the little toaster.
No. Oh,
Oh,
no!
You
Toaster
get
boy, no!
blasted the heck away from here. As you approach this thing, it doesn't take kindly to the fact that you lasered it, and it knocks down your health and knocks you back over here. You are shut down for the moment. Your systems are basically trying to reboot you right now. Meanwhile, we have the other couple of gats shooting at the big boy, who also has a TN of 5. He's really easy to hit, but he doesn't take much damage. Ooh, alright, so some of the rounds glance off of him like usual, but the rest of them seem to hit a vital location, and he is very much winded. Or rather, he would be if he, sucked in air at all. But he is a robot,
Oh, no.
so he doesn't do that.
Oh, no.
Mr. Sweepy said no. Stop hurting
Ah,
Mr.
shit.
Sweepy's friends. Frowning face with open mouth.
The worker drones here are going to come in slowly. And surround you from what it looks like. Once again, you notice that they all seem to be coming in step with one another.
Shit.
Over the intercom system, once again, you hear some, basically, gloating from the big guy himself who, sent all these guys after you. It's just like, you should have just cooperated. As these, 4 drones come up next to you, Rezor. You have a TN of
9, I
9
think.
to be struck right now, yeah. You're actually doing pretty well for yourself with that.
It's
and
another
they are going
boy.
to attempt to hit you. But there are 4 of them attempting to hit you. I'm going to be
Oh,
doing
boy.
this 4 times. They're all coming in and trying to hit you. Well, that was that. 1,
One succeeded. Ow.
2.
These guys are rolling way too well.
Ow.
Why?
3.
Please stop.
Ow.
What
That
the
one was an accident
fuck?
because it was an 8, but it still would have hit. So you take
The last
to your
offer,
health 4 damage because they each just deal 1 damage per hit. They just somehow rolled fantastically. Like that shouldn't have
What?
happened.
The fuck?
Just double checking.
Ow.
Yeah, they have a decent interaction pool, but they only do 1 damage on strike, and it's supposed to be a TN of 9. They just rolled really well.
well, they are worse than my drones.
So, Rover, it's your turn up again.
Basically,
this robot in front
he's
of you
going to
that's-
be like, Master, are you okay?
I'm still standing.
Just don't.
But I don't feel too hot.
Is going to kind of like try to look for the best opportunity here, and he's just going to go, and just continue to attack this thing because it's the only thing he can think of right now.
Alright, you're trying to hit this thing TN7 again. Alright, you managed to hit it.
That's a 6.
3 tens.
Woo!
And you laser it. You hit its minigun arm, and it continues to spin, but continues to spin a little bit too fast as you see it move its arm to the side. It looks like it's attempting to shut it down, but it just keeps spinning, and it just keeps twirling around. This thing starts spinning like a ballerina for a moment before the gun suddenly stops, but the rest of his body doesn't stop moving, and the gun rips off, and he falls in place. See, what kills you isn't the moving really fast, it's the sudden stopping.
I love that quote.
Rezor, you are surrounded by 4 drones trying to beat the shit out of you.
Might get out of there, and maybe help TOA-PA.
Yeah, how long of a distance is this?
I'm pretty
Whatever
sure
your movement is, or yeah, whatever your.
Rezor, your movement speed is 8, actually.
I don't remember.
Could I move over here?
Yeah, so you can click on the ruler thing, and every tile is 1 movement. So that's only 25 feet. That's 30 feet to get over here, 25 feet to get over here.
Oh well, over here is enough. So swoosh. I don't remember how to do the clicker thing.
No worries. So,
Yeah.
you, am I assuming you're beating the crap out of that guy?
Yeah, I'm gonna smack him.
Alright, smack him. TN7.
Interaction pool.
Alright, yeah, you bop him really hard, and your metal pipe goes through the arm connecting to the minigun, after the cutting laser, it seemed that TOA-PA had cut off the majority of it enough. It comes off, and he attempts to bring up the other laser, and you just bop his head off. The other minigun, and you just bop his head off. And that one falls into a crumpled metal heap. Alright, TOA-PA, what I want you to do, you are going to roll a power check TN10 for me. And you need 2 successes.
Okay.
And you got
nice.
3.
Oh,
Alright, so
God.
that was actually really well done. Yeah, okay. You guys are just rolling really well when it counts. So while you are not physically doing very well and your movement is going to suffer a small penalty as of right now because you're not in optimal shape, you're going to get a modifier to your speed of -2. So your speed is down to 15, like 3 tiles right now. You do manage to quickly reboot yourself up, and your damage threshold, for lack of a better way to represent it, is back up to a 1. You are in a bad state, but you are conscious and able to move, just worse.
Okay. So TOA-PA, as he reboots, it takes him a moment before he begins to move again, and he looks over towards Rezor with a bit of recognition for a second, saying Anatole, before seeming slightly disheartened and disappointed, beginning to move back towards Mr. Sweepy to figure out what he's doing over there.
Yeah, so you can move right there. And you can move here too. It's just you'll be like under the console.
Mr. Sweepy said Mr. Sweepy welcomes the help.
Yep.
With that, TOA-PA has nothing left to do.
I would like TOA-PA to do one check for me, actually. You're going to do a Mechanicon TN10. See if you roll godly again. Nope, not this time. Alright, so just like Mr. Sweepy, as you approach here, you don't get an immediate idea of which one is controlling these drones. You still have to investigate further. And that will be your turn, as it is now the carry drone's turn. And that's their turn. Alright. Now it's Stomp's turn, and the big robot doesn't take very kindly to these guys shooting him up. And he is going to whir up his gun again. And strain himself a little bit to attempt to basically hit both of them simultaneously. So he's going to do it. It's going to increase the TN that he has to hit by 1. But if he manages to hit even one of these, he'll hit both of them with the attack. So it's a TN of 8 instead. And he hits both of them. The one on the left side, you see, just caves. Like it, nuts and bolts and everything firing out. And the other one starts to spark. And after that, he steps 1 tile back. And that would be all he can do this turn. Lumber control.
Reality comp TN8.
So yeah. Nope. Both of the cutter drones doing the same thing, I'm assuming.
Yep.
They're the same, so just roll for one of them twice.
Both time.
It's going to take another turn.
Can you say that last turn?
I said it's going to take another turn or 2. It was the 2.
Oh. Well, alright. Fair enough.
I'm fine with the 0 successes I got.
You're trying to weld through what is relatively a sturdy metal wall.
Yeah.
So, well, not weld. You're trying to cut through it. All right, Mr. Sweepy, you are up again.
Sweepster. Still looking for the control.
Dead.
Dead.
Can't believe Trisky's fucking dead, guys.
Can't believe I am fucking dead. Oh, I sorry, I didn't see the comment. Yeah, same roll, but the TN is going to be a 9 this time instead of a 10.
Damn.
I actually meant for reality com once again because I'm a dipshit, but you have the same stat in each and would have been the same roll. So yeah, you don't get any successes for that. Sadly, you're still having trouble deciphering what's what. As you come over here, you see these robots typing away at these terminals doing something or other, but you're not sure what. And
Mr.
now-
Sweepy said Mr. Sweepy is beeping in frustration.
all right, now it is the last Gat's turn. This
Beep,
one
beep, 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 beep.
is sparking and letting out oil. It proceeds to turn around and begins to back off into this now open room. You remember its speed. Yeah, it's getting out of there. These worker drones, most of them seem to turn towards the dog. This one moves over towards you. Actually, these two do. But these ones start to encircle the
Oh,
puppy.
Oh no. Oh no.
As you turn and see the dog now surrounded by 6 of these worker drones. And more coming on their way. As they all swing at you with their hands. Your TN to be struck is still a 9, correct?
Why?
Why the fuck? They have good interaction pools, but at the same time, it's still a TN of 9.
Whoa.
You...
Two.
Ah,
Ouch.
3.
why? Why is this happening?
Or...
No, I'm dead. I'm already dead.
Mr. Sweepy said Mr. Sweepy and the toaster need to hustle.
Oh my god.
I've already been hit 4 times. I'm already dead. Stop, Jim. He's already dead.
You only got 2 ones. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10.
I blame roll 20.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh god.
It's
Oh
not
god.
like you
no,
gave these
my God.
things insane interaction pools or anything.
They have an
What?
interaction pool of 7. The Gats have a higher interaction pool. Most of you guys have higher interaction. Never mind. Whatever. They're meant to be drones working the thing, so they're able to move really quickly and do things and operate stuff. So that's part of why that's the explanation. But yeah, you're knocked out.
They're
Rezor-
whimpering noises
Rezor
from
sees,
Chet.
Rezor sees Chet falling over and his face just goes.
And
turns
these
turns
other
at first
two...
to sad and then to angry.
And these other two on you, Rezor, are going to somehow both hit anyway, because fuck me. And these things I intended to be not threats at all are just ganging up on you.
Mr.
Yeah,
Sweepy,
you're down to one.
Mr. Sweepy, help us.
Chet,
Yeah,
I want you to roll a power check.
I have three.
TN10,
I have
and-
3 power.
and you need 2 successes. You
Great.
do not reboot this turn.
Mr.
Rezor.
Sweepy said Mr. Sweepy is trying, but Mr. Sweepy literally only knows
boy.
cleaning. Frowning face with open
Let's
mouth.
do or die.
Just help Mr. Sweepy with the stuff. We don't need to beat these guys up. We just need to Mr. Sweepy
Okay.
help.
Oh, wait a second. Where can I move again?
You can move 8 tiles. You can't move through these things. You would have to make a fancy check to move through here. I would force you to make a dexterity check or just get stuck, which would basically trap you in a corner.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I can make it here. I think if I cut my
You can make it here. If you're going around these, you could also just do this, then that, and you can do that.
God damn it, how do I get that thing again?
Right click.
Make an
Right click only moves the thing for me. If I press right click. Where's the fucking thing?
You can make it over to here.
I was just wondering, like,
Or you-
if here, like, then here. Like, can
you
I
can
move?
make it
Oh
to
yeah.
basically on the same tile or next to Mr. Sweepy.
Okay.
You can
that's
move 40 feet. as it
okay.
says.
So I'm just gonna hippity hoppity get the fuck out of this property. Run over here and what to check on this thing?
All right, you're going to make the reality comm check, TN10.
Oh brother, please succeed. Yes.
All right. So you get an inkling as you come over here, unlike the other two, that the source of the signal getting sent out is actually from this fellow right next to you. So for the stream, Rezor moved over here, and she has an inkling that's this guy's console that's doing something.
It's this guy right next to me. Rezor says and points at the robo.
Shove them out. Just shove them.
Can I do that?
Yeah. Roll an interaction pool for me. You're just trying to move him aside, right?
Yeah, it's just trying to shove him back like.
Mr.
Alright, it's a
Sweepy
TN
said
of 5.
smash all the buttons.
So it's an interaction pool TN5, and yeah, you just shove him aside.
Tackle! Elbow tackle! Dong!
Hey, you were trained to do that sort of thing.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem pleased at this, but yeah, you
So
are able to do that.
Here then, because
You cannot, you
kind of
cannot,
him.
you push him back, but he just wheels
Alright.
back. You don't follow him.
All right.
And that would be your turn at this point, actually. TOA-PA, you could, because of your lack of movement currently, get on Mr. Sweepy. You have no movement to get
That
there.
was my idea. TOA-PA moves towards Mr. Sweepy and Rezor and looks to Mr. Sweepy and begins to say, I
You
injured
cut out
a lot. Could I... Oh, did I?
a little bit.
I've been injured a lot. Could I write on you for a bit? He clacks his fingers together.
Mr. Sweepy said Mr. Sweepy agrees.
As Mr. Sweepy agrees, he moves forward more and begins to hoist himself on top of Mr. Sweepy.
Alright, so now you are riding on top of Mr. Sweepy's rack on the top. So you basically occupy the same place at the moment. Now it would be the carry drone's turn. If you want to, I'll let you say that they're preparing to move inside as soon as there's a hole big enough for them.
Probably.
Yeah, so they're just preparing up against the wall.
Them as well. Stomp.
Yep, that would be that turn. Stomp's turn. Stomp, you hear his miniguns winding down as he turns towards Chet. And the closest thing you've ever heard to this would be a semi-truck horn, but it seems to be amplified quite a bit. It sounds angry. He takes a step forward towards this, and whirs up his guns again, aiming at these two. And as he does this, he says, "Warning, do not harm my friends." As he miniguns whir up loudly and start firing at the two drones here. And you pull up his fucking sheet again. I am organized, shut up. Alright. He gets one success in there, and the one closer to you guys, the one standing right in front of the gap, just is eviscerated. Lit up with so much bullet fire as Stomp looks forward. Yep, basically.
TOA-PA makes as much of a clapping noise as he can with his one appendage.
Rezor is kind of reeling because he's so hurt.
Alright, lumber control. Come on.
Alright, you break through the wall. And as I was not anticipating you cutting a hole through the wall, I literally have to redo the fucking map for the fucking dynamic lighting.
I just put myself inside.
Yeah, I'll just put you guys inside. You break through the wall here and enter this room, and you see the Gat that is currently fleeing from the battle previously. And you
Could I say
also
that-
see a staircase before you. And I want to do something that I didn't do for you before that is relevant now.
The -2 stats. I know the cutting drones and lumber control have the specific thingy.
I was just increasing your vision range.
Yeah, and that.
So yeah, you're in this room. You see the Gat. It is like as much as it can, considering how much is fucked up, sprinting towards this staircase, which you assume from earlier, which you could barely hear outside, was the cause of that slow rhythmic clanking of metal on metal earlier.
Yep.
Let's get it.
Can I?
We know where he is now.
You can still move, but your action was cutting through. So you have
Yeah.
the remainder of your movement, which is -10 for getting inside. So your carry drones only have 1 tile of
So-
movement.
And I only have
The cutters cannot move. And you can move 2 tiles additional.
Sorry.
How dare you draw on my perfectly nice floor? Mr. Sweepy would be disappointed.
Yes. uh. Eh. Eh. While I resolve this.
You move from the top left corner.
Alright. Yep. I need to push him aside for a second.
Oh yeah, I can see what you mean with that. I got the last one. There you go.
Mr. Sweepy said
Yeah,
no
that's
more
right.
work for Mr. Sweepy. Mr. Sweepy is going to clean after this.
Yep, sounds about right.
Mr. Sweepy is angry.
All right, it is
Angie.
now actually, considering the cutting drones have already done action and have done all their movement for this turn, it is now Mr. Sweepy's turn. So, Mr. Sweepy, what are you going to do? You've been told that this terminal is the one that's doing the thing.
Mr. Sweepy said Mr. Sweepy takes TOA-PA to the terminal.
All right, so you and TOA-PA step up to this terminal.
Fuck shit up.
And Mr. Sweepy, I'm assuming you're like a hydraulic lift up so that TOA-PA is like in line with the terminal and can actually see what he's doing. Mr. Sweepy, are you attempting to do anything to the terminal or are you simply moving over?
Mr. Sweepy said Mr. Sweepy lifts so TOA-PA can get a good shot or whatever.
Okay, or whatever. All right. And will that be all of your actions for this turn, or do you have anything else in mind?
I think he's trying to imply that you should at least attempt to turn this thing off.
I'll take that as a end of.
Mr. Sweepy said can Mr. Sweepy aggressively vacuum the interface or try to push buttons?
Yeah, see,
Mr. Sweepy said I have no arms.
Yes, you do. You actually do. You have things that come out of you that are arms by default. Oh wait, no, yeah, you are limbless. I remember now. Yeah, you literally have the limbless thing. I'm pulling up your
Mr.
sheet now.
Sweepy said no I took the no arms fault.
Yeah. I noticed. Yeah, you don't have any arms. You can lift him up. You can't really do anything, but you can sort of like vacuum nozzle at part of the thing and sort of like bang it. It really doesn't accomplish much. You can't really do anything as precise as button pressing and whatnot with what you have available to you. So that would be the extent of your turn. I honestly forgot about that. I thought you had like a limb that you could use. I'm losing my mind. Now it is actually the one remaining Gat's turn. And he turns and he sees these guys who just like fucking drilled through the wall. And he's like, yeah, I ain't about that shit. I'm fucking gonna stop them. And so he winds up the gun on him, aiming at the one that is front and center, lumber control. Lumber control, what is your TN to be struck?
4.
4? Right,
Somehow lost the stomp. Ouchies.
Yeah, it'll probably hurt a little bit. Just a little bit.
Ouch.
You take a good amount of fire to you, and because he got like 5 successes, I'm going to make it slightly more damaging. You take 5 damage from that.
Yep.
But you notice as that happens, the gun overheats and pops. And he seems to take even more damage from that. Still barely standing. All right, now it's the worker drones. The worker drones are no longer in combat range of any of you. What you see through this small gap in the intercoms over here those of you noticing, you see over here one of these worker drones step up to stomp and swipe at him and do absolutely nothing. Like, I'm not even going to roll. These guys literally can't hurt him.
Thank
Stomp
God.
looks down at him almost in pity. The other drones over here. Are slowly approaching you guys, and I have to move you aside for a moment so I can get this one.
Oh lord, get that terminal off quick.
Oh lord. Oh lord, they're coming. Oh
Oh
lord.
lord, they coming. Oh
They're all
lord, they
coming.
coming.
Yep, so you got a bunch of these worker drones making their way over to you. They may not be able to reach you just now, but they're definitely trying. Rover, once again, all right, so you're going to do a power check for me, but this time it is TN8. I still need 2 successes. All right, so I'll count that towards next turn to make it a little bit easier, but you do not successfully reboot this turn.
Kind of like whimpering noises from Rover as he just sputters and sparks.
Basically, yeah. All right, Rezor.
Mr. Sweepy said Mr. Sweepy regrets having no arms.
Yes, me. Okay, so can I try to smack this thing shut? Or do I need to be more delicate about it?
You do not know.
I want to do the check.
All right, then you will be doing a reality comm for me. I need a TN of 9, and I need 2 successes for you to successfully
Boy.
decipher what is the proper way to do this and what smashing it to bits will do. Oh, wow. All right, TN 9, 2 successes. Yeah, you seem to understand that you hitting this thing with a lead pipe probably won't do the job properly. You need a little bit more finesse, and for that, you probably want somebody that's a little bit more adept with, you know, like a programming arm or operating arm. And you were never programmed to really work with computers. You were programmed to subdue people that wanted to hurt the mistress.
Yeah. Rezor looks around. At TOA-PA and then Sweepy. Can either of you do something about this?
Do I destroy it or do I have to actually deactivate it?
You have to actually what she discovered is, yeah, you actually have to deactivate this thing.
Stay deactivated.
TOA-PA seems concerned, but I've had some experience with computers, although I mostly have experience with cutting things and building, not the actual programming part.
So Rezor, you've done this. This is sort of like an off action. I'm not really counting it as your action. You can still do something if you want related to these guys coming in.
Yeah. Oh god. Oh god.
It's
Give me
not
a
really a
moment.
thing in this system, but I'll let you do like a prepared action if you want.
I'll prepare to attack if needed.
All right, so if they come up to you, you're going to swing at them.
Yeah.
All right, TOA-PA. I want you to
Yeah.
do a check for me.
Mhm.
So you have been basically come to the conclusion through Rezor's help that smashing this thing wouldn't do the job for you. But what I want you to do is I want you to do a reality comm for me, and after deducting all this stuff so far, it's only going to be a TN of 6.
Okay, reality con TN of 6.
All right. So you do this and you look at this and you remember the owner fiddling with something like this. He had a pet project on his YouTube channel at one point to control a bunch of like flying drones simultaneously to put on a show or something as a big like
He's
act
Michael
for, like,
Reeves.
for 4th of July or some crap. And what you remember is, yeah, he sort of mentioned that this thing, he didn't want to bring it out into the rain because if it got short-circuited, it would shut everything off. So you have some impression that giving this thing an excessive jolt of power might actually do the job.
I see. Would it be possible to get rid of my 1 point of HP to shock the system with the remaining power in my battery?
You can go ahead and plug in, and what I want you to do is you have a power of 5, but you have been weakened. Give it a modifier of -1 to power of 4, and roll a TN of 8. I need 2 successes. Just
Boil it.
short. You do not get shocked out of it. You don't, like, down yourself, but you haven't generated enough power for this yet. You would need assistance.
Okay.
All right, carry drones. You can move
Fine. Yeah, I know. I
the...
can move till there.
I think they have a movement of 3, right? That's
Yep.
15 feet in this system. Yeah. I know you're just moving that to get drones
Can I-
over there.
Three of
Tank,
them.
tank, tank.
All right, the carry drones.
I'm going to boop the whatever the minigun.
All
Guys.
right, interaction pool of TN7. Interaction pool TN7. All right, you don't even have to roll the rest of the ones. The first carry drone approaches this thing. Its gun is overheated and, like, popped. It's spilling oil and it's sparking. It's using its other hand to, like, tap the minigun when all of a sudden this carry drone comes up, lifts out a little arm out of it, points at him, and just jabs it in the center. And you go straight through one of the large bore bullet holes that was fired by Stomp earlier, and it stands there for a moment, and it just looks at you. And then you see the light in its eyes just shut down as it collapses.
Dead.
The carry drone notices that it is now holding what seems to be a pretty important wire all of a sudden. And that would be about their turn, actually. As the last of the the last of these guys is fucked up pretty badly. And with that in mind, it is now Big Boy Stomp's turn. Stomp. Down here. Steps on him.
That's on you.
So this thing, he doesn't even really have to try to do this. He just steps on the bitch, and the bitch be crushed. But he has only moved 2 tiles, and his guns start to whir. He is attempting to fire at the ones nearest to you, right here, like these 2. And he's doing that same thing again, where he is attempting to hit multiple in one turn at like a higher difficulty. And it's an additional 1 TN for every additional one he attempts to hit. So he's attempting to hit 3 of them. And he does get some successes. You watch as Stomp steps forward, stomps on this one, and 1, 2, 3 of these worker drones are just rinsed.
Mr. Sweepy said, "Thank God we have a warbot with us."
Yeah, Rezor is kind of standing on his last legs here.
Yep.
Pretty much swaying and panting and trying to hold his lead pipe.
Yeah.
This entire mess.
Yes,
Out
he's barking.
robots and controlling them, so I start going towards there. And that's my action. I'm going to try to heal myself.
All right. So what I'm doing with healing at this point, I knew it was probably going to come up. Again, I actually think I was doing it way too easily last time, but it was also because Roro was the one doing it, and Roro was super proficient in that shit. So it's going to take an additional turn longer, and you still have to make the success. That's just how I'm going to roll this. Not any intended FU, it's just, wow, this was way too easy, and combat is supposed to be actually scary.
See?
So,
It's okay.
Chet,
Yeah,
let me double check the thing for repair, what it was. Repairing a robot. So you have taken 5 damage. So it's 11 minus 8 plus 5. So 11 minus 3. So it's a TN of 8 to successfully do the repair. And you have to roll Mechanicon plus Dexterity and D10s.
How about if I succeed, I heal half the health I meant. Don't succeed the next. If I succeed the next turn, I also heal the rest. The health which I meant to get, or something like that. Not all worthless, or whatever. It's yours. It's you to decide.
Oh, each success repairs 1 point of damage. This part I didn't read. All right, go ahead and do it. So it was a TN of 8. You got 2 successes. You repair 2 points of damage. So you were up to 5. I also forgot that Roro had a massive ass fucking pool of things that he could do for repairing. Because that was literally his shtick. All right, so yeah, you're back up to a damage threshold of 5, and that would be your turn. Now it is the cutter drones who have a movement of 10, or 2 tiles. Scroll back up here in the game screen so you guys can see.
There we go.
All right, so just a heads up how the staircase goes. This is the entrance, and then it goes up this way.
Alright. I'm just going to move them towards the entrance in case anyone decides to come down.
Alright. Mr. Sweepy!
So we need to short this thing out.
Mr. Sweepy said Mr. Sweepy wants to assist TOA-PA. Mr. Sweepy needs to turn off those drones.
So yes, Mr. Sweepy, you are going to attempt to help out as much as possible. I want you to... Alright, we're going to do a reality comma TN of 6 to see if you come up with this idea that I have in mind. If you can successfully come up with your own idea for it, that might be interesting. Go ahead and tell me what you think.
Who? Oh, Sweepy.
Mr. Sweepy.
Mr.
Yeah.
Sweepy said, "Do you want me to roll first or come up with an idea?"
Go ahead and roll first. If you have your own idea, let me know whenever. All right, you got Arkham. That was with the Tiana. Yeah. So you have remembered that you have a turbo function that could potentially do something interesting. If you could somehow connect to TOA-PA, you could utilize the turbo function to give him a jolt of power again. Since his systems are having some trouble and failing a little bit. You silently thank your creator for wanting you to be able to chase after the cats at home.
Beep, 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 beep.
Alright, so,
Mr. Sweepy said Mr. Sweepy uses ability to dock to sort of connect to TOA-PA and turn on the turbo full blast.
Alright, yeah, so you're connecting into TOA-PA. You utilize this small connection of yours. You don't really exactly have a what would be considered the little thing that the robot up here had to try and connect to Chet earlier. The interface prong, but you do have something that would suffice for the short term. And you plug that into TOA-PA. And TOA-PA, you're gonna get some benefit next turn. The gats are all dead, so that turn doesn't exist anymore. And the worker drones are still up and running. So the worker drones seem to notice that 4 of them just got rinsed by this giant-ass mechanical thing.
3.
no, 4.
Oh,
1 got
4.
stepped on.
Yeah.
Oh,
4, yeah. And they
Which-
seem to adjust their course towards the giant war robot. And over the intercom, as you see them walk forward and do nothing to us, you hear now an angry sounding voice saying, "No, you idiots, you won't do anything to it." But they don't seem to pay attention. And they all basically wimpily slap at Stomp, and Stomp doesn't notice anything, and they're doing no damage.
If he could land, he would go ho 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 ho.
Yeah, basically. All right, Rover, you are going to have a TN of 5 to wake up this time. It's once again a power check. And you
Yay!
have gotten the 2 successes that you need. You've gotten 3 successes, actually. You wake up back to 1 damage threshold for all intents and purposes. And you are conscious again.
Alright. So basically, seeing that they've got everything pretty much handled right now, let me see. What would be my total movement speed again?
Your movement speed is going to be down 2 because of the damage you've taken. So modifier -2 to your movement.
Alright, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright, so I wouldn't be able to get to it immediately. But basically, seeing that everything's pretty much taken care of right now, Rover's going to start sprinting over and just says, "I'm coming for you, Mussolini."
All right. Rezor, it is your turn.
All right. So are we still operating this thing?
You have not successfully shut them down yet because they're still moving, so assumedly yes.
Okay. So did I figure out anything last time? I don't remember anymore.
So they're currently trying to short circuit this thing by pumping power into it. TOA-PA didn't manage to get it well off enough this last time he attempted, but he can try
Okay,
again.
Well, what can I do to help them?
Unless anybody communicates the idea to you, you would have to do a check.
Oh yeah, true.
See if you come to that conclusion on your own. You do minorly notice that Mr. Sweepy is plugging into TOA-PA in some way.
He looks at the two. What's the plan? Sounding a bit tired, of course, but I can't do for this.
Stop yawning. You're making me yawn too.
I'm gonna let Mr. Sweepy speak because I like when Mr. Sweepy
Mr. Sweepy
speaks.
said overpower the evil console.
All right. Hold the power to toasting friend. You forgot the text to speech on that one if you intended that.
No, he did. He did get the text to speech.
Oh, I didn't hear it.
Same.
The second line.
I heard it too, though.
Yeah, we
Weird.
heard it.
That was weird.
Weird. I didn't. Oh well.
Yeah, I also didn't.
Can I do something to help you?
Rezor, you have a big idea that you could potentially jack in utilizing a connector on the cutting laser that you have to plug into TOA-PA and provide some extra power.
Oh yeah. Oh well, Rezor does that after figuring it out. Like, oh yeah, I have this thing now. he's a bit hazy because he's so injured. Like, what is it in my life right now?
Okay, TOA-PA. You have been given excess power from both of your companions. And with that, you have newfound confidence in this. I'm going to need you to do a power check again, PN 7. And I need 2 successes.
And I keep the -1 modifier, right?
Nope, you're up to a +1 modifier now. You're up to 6. I adjusted your thing.
Mr. Sweepy said
Okay.
Super Saiyan Toaster.
All right.
Yeah.
You pour your power into this console, and for a moment it seems like it does nothing. You sit there. It's quiet. And then, from the opposite side of this console that you can't see through, you hear jolting sounds. As pop, 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 pop.
Yep.
The heads of these drones all seem to just fry simultaneously.
We have defeated your troops, and now we are coming for you.
I come around the corner and see all of the potential hive mind popping.
Meanwhile, this whole entire time, after you fry the thing, you turn, and this robot that you shoved out of the way earlier just looks at you a bit annoyed, just sort of motioning for you to get out of the way of his work.
Not much he can do now.
Oh no, because everything is fried up.
The other two still seem to be not paying any attention to what you're doing. And with that, we are out of combat.
Chet will kind of run up to Rezor.
Rezor pretty much falls on his knees at this point, like. Ow!
Chet kind of
Mr.
like
Sweepy said Mr. Sweepy beeps in distress. We need to be cleaned. The area needs to be cleaned.
Beep beep beep.
Chet kind of like nuzzles him. It like limps over to Rezor and starts nuzzling her or him.
We're
and
doing the
it's
same
just like
shit with Mama Jones all of a sudden.
and it's just kind of like, okay, we need to go get this guy, or they'll just keep bringing more people.
You hear
Mr.
some
Sweepy said so much work.
cracking
Frowning face with
sounds.
open mouth.
And as you turn, you look once again towards this wall of the console and hear loud noises on the opposite side. You peek around the corner and Stomp has gone straight through this wall.
All right.
Rezor hugs Chet and then looks at everybody. We need to get fixed up before we do anything else, otherwise we'll be destroyed.
Lumber control is looking at Stomp with a view which is like, really?
If he could make faces. Oh, really?
I mean, he did break through the front door too.
and I just kind of say, okay, but let's follow Stomp. I don't think we're gonna be able to get far without him.
Exterminate the foe. And as he says this, the intercoms pipe up again. And this time, you hear an exasperated and angry voice. And it's saying, "You foolish hunks of metal seek to undermine all the work I've done. Such things will not be tolerated. I will not allow such things to end my work." And with that, at the very far end of the facility, you hear whirring, loud motors starting up.
Shit.
Mr. Sweepy said Mr. Sweepy says your mother was a dump truck.
Oh.
My mother was human. Your father, not worth talking about. And, what you guys see coming up from the distance, you hear stomping. It's not as loud as your friend here, but it is up there. It is loud. And it is resounding through this facility, echoing across the walls, hitting everything. As you hear this sort of like sound of motors and everything causing something to move rapidly towards you.
Fuck.
Mr. Sweepy said fighting makes messes. We are already a mess. This is bad.
So, it hasn't arrived yet, but you hear something coming.
We should get out
Something
of
over here.
We're not in shape to fight.
Well, later.
Unless one of us can do quick repairs.
I kind of look over to what's on this conveyor belt. Can I kind of glimpse over and see if I know what it is?
You would have to do a reality comm for me.
Alright. What TN?
8. I need
Alright.
2 successes because, nope, you don't get it.
Crap!
Trisky, can you make a hole where Stomp
Can I try?
his hole?
You tried before, but you can spend a little bit of time trying again, so yeah, go ahead. I still need 2 successes because you've done this before. You've inspected them, but you only got 1 success, and you can only deduce that they were, like, combat-oriented.
Well,
What was
you
the
don't.
target number?
TN8, reality comm.
God damn it, I'm still too hurt.
Well,
Let's see.
Your brain is still trying to keep up with all of the damage that you've sustained right now and can't comprehend such things at the moment.
getting stuff.
Some sort of advantage being with a military veteran, but I guess this might be a bit too advanced.
It is not anything that he has taught you about. That's for sure.
TOA-PA, using his raised altitude, decides to investigate as well, seeing all of them looking over there.
TOA-PA has a slightly better idea from some strange magazine that his owner had in the corner of his room, crumpled up. You looked at it at one point when you were bored, and he was off doing something else and didn't need your help for a moment. And it was something about mechanized infantry. These look eerily similar to the some of the components that were shown off in the magazines, parts that seem to be part of what would amount to their weaponry. And upon looking over at the other ones that you have fought that had these guns on them, it seems they use something similar, not exactly the same. The ones on the conveyor belts are bigger.
TOA-PA begins to speak. The things on the conveyor belts are like the things that shot me, but bigger, like Stomp has.
God damn it.
Mr.
No.
Sweepy said, can we use this console to control those things?
Well, this is happening. Can I heal myself again?
Yeah, so you all have enough time as you're hearing this stomping to attempt to do some very quick repairs. But it's going to be yeah, it's going to be rough.
What
So
is supposed to be the difficulty for me again?
To roll to try to repair myself.
for you, since you have 1 HP
Oh, yeah.
left, it would
Oh,
be
yeah.
a TN of 10.
Ouch.
It would be a TN of 10 for
Um,
you, and
same
for
for me,
Rover,
wouldn't it?
and for TOA-PA, it would be a TN of 9 for Mr. Sweepy. And as of right now, it is a TN of
I'm gonna go.
Which roll was it?
Mechanicon.
it's a TN of 6, I think, for you. If I recall correctly.
Damn it.
No,
I
not-
heal by 1.
Sorry, that I meant a TN of 6 for lumber control because of how much health you have left.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking about maybe healing someone else.
I think it still abides by the same rules.
Mr. Sweepy said, how much is it for Mr. Sweepy?
For you, it's a TN of 9. And for every point is a combination of your Mechanicon and Dexterity. So the combination of those two scores and D10s. Every success of a TN of 9 or more heals you 1 point of health.
How do I
Let
add
me
this?
roll.
There isn't anything based like that, so you just have to roll a number of D10s.
So 2D then?
No, that wouldn't be for you. So let me look it up. 2d10 for TOA-PA at TN of 10. You do not make any successes. Your wounds are too
I
hard.
made 1 success earlier, but that was with Mechanicon, which is supposed to be added with Dexterity, so I was just rolling for the extra Dexterity I didn't do.
Well-
oh wait. Why? How are you up to 2 HP again?
Because it's a combination of your Mechanicon and your Dexterity, isn't it?
You rolled
And I rolled
Mechanicon.
Mechanicon earlier, so I was rolling another 2d10 to supplement the Dexterity.
And he got 1 success in
Yeah.
mechanic.
Can I roll my dexterity?
Yeah,
if
but
I
that
want?
Mechanicon was intended for. Wait, oh, I see
No,
what
that
you're
was
doing.
for
Okay,
healing,
yes. Okay, I see what you're doing. Yeah. All right, yeah. So you healed up that 1 hit point, and that's it.
Can I try my dexterity thing for that since I rolled
So
the
Rezor,
mechanical?
you would be rolling Dexterity plus Mechanicon, which would be a total of 7 for you. So roll
Alright,
7d10.
And myself?
You, Chet,
I'm gonna roll
you have
myself.
4 Dexterity and 1 Mechanicon, so a total of 5.
Alright.
That was wrong. I didn't mean to do that.
Yep. You did that
I'm
wrong.
pretty sure that I did succeed.
You
but
have
I'm
7, you did that right, and you have, yeah, you're up to full health. You've
Yeah.
finished off healing
So
yourself.
7d10?
Yeah, 7d10 for you, 7d10 for lumber control. And it was a Mechanicon of
Welcome,
9.
new nerd
Yeah,
friends.
sadly, you do not
Yay!
repair any health points. Niming, Mr. Sweepy's Dexterity is 1 and Mechanicon is 1. I forgot you had such little Dexterity. Holy shit. Yeah, you sadly don't manage to do anything. Rover, just as before, you also don't manage to heal up anything. You are both at pretty bad condition, and you're trying to do quick patch jobs to try and get yourself back into proper order, which is really hard to do, especially considering you're pressed for time. As you hear the stomping still coming towards you.
Trisky.
Yeah?
I'm going to mark a hole basically where Storm made it so that it's easier for me to know where I can place my drones, kinda. Like around the corner. It's where I want to place them, that's why.
He made a hole this big through the wall.
Alright. So, basically like this. Okay, no, I did it because this got organized as fuck.
Yeah.
That
All right. So
Is Stomp gonna try to heal himself?
Stomp is very stubbornly just moving towards the staircase, but he won't be able to get up it. I can spoil that for you.
Mr.
He is not
Sweepy said
attempting to do
Mr. Sweepy does not condone violence, but can we somehow control the war machines to help us?
Alright.
Can I send one of my drones to try to see what's up the stairs?
You can do that, yes, very slowly. But as you're doing that, Mr. Sweepy's asking if there's some way that you can control these war machines. So you saw that the war machines seem to have their own functioning AI, but that doesn't mean that they don't have some sort of override functionality. It does not appear to you that the same terminal would be dealing with that because you've already short-circuited it and it did nothing. So if there were anything controlling these war robots, it's either a different terminal or it's not in this room.
Alright, murder the other robots.
You're murdering these guys?
Not yet, at least.
All right.
Should I do a check?
As you're attempting to do all this, you hear additional stomping sounds still as things get closer.
Can I look around for anything that could help me fix myself?
Finding spare parts wouldn't necessarily help you in this situation. It's just a matter of you have what would be necessary to at least do the minor patch job, but you don't have the time, and that's what's pressing.
Can I do some kind of check to see what these two are working on?
Yeah, so what it would be a reality comm or a human comm, whichever is higher for you.
Wouldn't the Electricon be a bit more fit? Or Digicon? Actually, don't.
So what I've been getting sort of wrong this whole entire time, which isn't too pressing, but it actually matters. Digicon and Mechanicon are for actually using a thing, not understanding how it works.
Alright. So reality then. HumanCon and reality are the same for me. 8?
Yeah, one of those two. It's a TN of 8. 0 successes. You have no idea what these terminals are doing.
No.
Can I try?
Yeah, you can move over and try.
Mr. Sweepy said, can Mr. Sweepy check?
Limping.
Yes, you can.
Limping.
Okay.
A little. So I can actually
So
move
yeah,
myself.
anybody who wants to inspect these consoles can either roll me a reality comm or a human comm, whichever one is better for you.
Yep.
I'm gonna come over here and just generally inspect them and do a human comm. What's the TN?
8. I need 2 successes. All right,
3.
that would be 3.
I'm sure.
All right. I mean, he's getting a very small idea of which one it might be, but doesn't really seem to be pulling it together. But Chet,
Shit.
you approach and you see that the bronzish one over here is working at a terminal with some similar like symbolism on it. As you approach even further and like hop up to look at it, the robot doesn't seem to care, but you watch the screen and yeah, this is definitely what seems to be controlling these war things. It plays like one of your old owners like war games. He used to play a lot of mech games back in the day, and this looks just like it.
One is controlling them. Hurry, get him away. I can't really do anything like that because I'm lightweight.
Can I laser him?
No, he's civilian. Just push him away.
Can I push him away with my tiny limb?
You can shove him, yeah. It's an interaction pool, and it's a TN of you do it because these guys don't stop you.
Okay, I'm gonna shove this dude away from here then.
So you shove them over here, and they stand, and since they are not in front of their terminals, they sort of like, they don't shut down, but they become inactive.
I do try to kind of stay off to the side so that some others will be able to fit in here.
Like
All right.
my old master's war games. I
At this
don't know
point,
how to operate this.
you hear once again, stomp, Stomp! Stomp! And in the corner of your vision off to the left, you can spot
Yep.
something huge coming towards you.
Also, my drone did get to the top of the stairs, so comment about that in a minute. I'll say maybe.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now, I don't have a separate map set up for that, so I'm just going to describe what it is. You get up to the top of the stairs, and it's a hallway for the warehouse, like upper floor where the management works, and it leads down, and there are tons of doors and stuff, but there's one at the very end of the hall that looks a little bit nicer and seems to have a plaque above it that says something. You can't read it from this distance.
Be where our culprit is.
So all I know that it's a hallway.
Yeah, it's a long hallway with a bunch of doors to what you can assume are probably offices. And the length of it, just for a little bit of an idea, it is about like the end of it would cut off presumably around here.
Wait
On
now.
there. So let me do that for the stream to see. So it's about
Yeah, I'm watching the stream now.
it's about like
Yep.
50 feet wide. It goes over like basically this part of the floor. But it doesn't go over like any of the conveyor belts, so it would cut off at here at most.
Yep.
This is like the width and length of the hall. Anyway, you guys are still attempting to mess with this computer that seems to be controlling these things.
I start coming down. I'm just going to come down slowly for the sake of it.
So yeah, Chet, you're actually sitting like right here on the dashboard of this thing, looking at the monitor that looks like one of these old war games. But you remember your owner played some of the really complicated war games. As you
Totally.
turn and you see joysticks and multiple keypads and all sorts of shit here.
I say, Master, my old master used to play one of these war games. I think it might help us. But it's really hard. He played the really hard levels.
Limps over and takes a look.
So you head on
Help.
over to this thing and you see the same thing that Chet was looking at. There are joysticks and buttons and dials and all sorts of things and switches that you can press on this thing. And the screen, you can see a familiar sight from the screen. Looking through the screen, you notice the corpses of all of these worker drones. As in the background, you hear and see something getting closer.
Fuck. What to do to try to interact with this thing?
You are trying to actually operate this thing, so this would be one of the con checks. It would be, you are attempting to interact with basically, this is more of a mechanical interface. Actually, no, yeah, you're trying to figure out how the fuck this thing works on like a technical and like science level. So it would be a digicon check. Your TN, however, is going to be a TN of 10 because you
I
don't know
would
how the
like-
fuck this thing works.
To do something now, but it's not my turn, quote unquote. Also, I'm pretty sure that Mr. Sweepy and
Mr.
TOA-PA
Sweepy said
need to do
Mr.
something.
Sweepy beeps in distress but brings over TOA-PA so he can see too.
I'm gonna try this. Fuck.
No, you don't manage to figure out anything. You're pressing buttons, but what you do notice is that the buttons you're pressing, while they aren't necessarily doing what you really want them to, the robots seem to act a little bit weird. Like one of them steps back a little bit, another one turns to the side. The last one starts whirring up its guns that you can't see, but you can hear from on the opposite side of this monitor display. You can hear something over here.
Shit to do anything with this. My brain is so hazy.
But as soon as you let go of some of these controls, they seem to pick resume and start walking towards you again.
Uh,
Should I do something?
I think we should think of something. Let's think of something.
I didn't do a mechanic check on this yet.
Mechanicon? You can attempt to do a Mechanicon check on it.
10, right?
TN10. Basically, let's just call it Mechanicon or Digicon, whichever one is better for you, TN of 10.
Can I use a human con to remember what strategies my old master would use?
Yeah, go
Or
ahead and do
something.
that for me. I want you to give me that. I need 2 successes, but it's only a TN of 8.
Alright.
Give
I
it a
got a
shot.
9. 8, unfortunate.
All right. So you remember that your owner used to play these games. They were really complex, and you liked watching him because he seemed to really enjoy himself while he was doing these things. And most of the time, you didn't pay too much attention to the game itself, but sometimes he would just point something out to you and be like, "Oh yeah, I rinsed that guy," and you would turn to the screen and you would be paying attention a little bit, and you noticed that whenever he wanted to like this game was like way too, it was like a full-on war sim, like with mechs, and he needed to actually get back to bases and stuff and shut down, and he's just like, or you remember one day he was just like, all right, Chet, hold up a moment, I just gotta dock, and then we'll go out and play some fetch or something. And you watched the screen and you saw vaguely what he was doing when he was bringing this machine back into the bay and shutting it down. And you don't remember exactly what he did, but you're so close. You're so close. It's on the tip of your tongue what you can do.
And it's like, oh, master, showed me how to dock these. I think I kind of know how to do it. Master.
And you point at a couple of the things that you remember being involved, but you don't know exactly how he moved them. So what you're going to do is, whoever, Rezor, I want you to, as he is pointing this out to you, I want you to do another check for me. But this time it is going to be a Digicon at only a TN of 7. And I need 2 successes. And you got it. So you
Have my hands and brain together.
You start pressing these rapidly, and you're turning over your shoulder to look at these robots that are still walking towards you, and you're pressing the buttons that Chet is pointing out to you, and you're watching what it does, and you're like, no, that's not the right one of these, or that's not the right way to move it, and whatnot. And after like a short moment, you see stomp. This one just breaks through this machine, and you can see this one robot just being so pissed. Shards are flying past you. And just as this one stomps over these guys and this guy comes over here, you hear the whirring of their guns. They're starting up, and you hit one last button, and the guns stop, and the robots stop, and there's silence.
Yay.
Rezor takes a deep breath and just slumps into the chair or whatever he was leaning against. And like, oh my god. We would have been toast here if this hadn't
Mr.
worked out.
Sweepy said
Thank you,
Mr.
Chet.
Sweepy drops the mess it had cleaned earlier.
He reaches and pats Chet on the head.
Thank you, master. He's kind of like fully laying down on his belly on this little perch here.
All of a sudden, off to the side, you hear whirrings of guns again, but these sound more familiar. You look up, and you poke around this monitor next to you, and you see Stomp's guns whirring up.
Shit. Rezor jumps
Stop.
up.
Wait.
From
Okay.
seemingly out of nowhere, this guy appears again in front of Stomp and is looking at him. And the eyes on it are slit. They're glowing bright red. He is furious at this.
Fuck.
You have ruined my life's work in a single day. This cannot stand. I can rebuild, but you will not be a part of the plan. And with that, he pulls out what seems to be a remote and clicks it. And Stomp's wearing guns. Slow. And start. And slow. I don't know who gave you the AI to work on your own, but I've had enough of this. You are coming back home. I'm disassembling you piece by piece.
Mr. Sweepy said leave Stomp alone, frowning face with open mouth.
The drones are running away. I'm just leaving one there.
Your
Yeah,
tyranny will never prevail.
Tyranny. Fancy ass fucking human words, all that Red Scare bullshit. I don't care what little runt like you has to say. I'm just doing this again real quick.
Well, you should, because it will end in your demise.
Alright, there we go. You don't need your thing in the room anymore. I've fixed the lighting. This is what you guys can see. And with this comment, he steps forward. You see that Stomp is no longer moving. He turns to look out at all of you. And you see seeming disappointment in his eyes. He walks up to the break. Also ruined my factory floor. It'll take me forever to repair all of these things. Step. Step.
Fuck.
He sees these couple of drones next to him. He swipes at them. But they are a little bit too far away for him to reach, and he doesn't care enough to actually try. He turns to look at the giant mechs next to you. And, if he could frown, he would. Oh, and you do this? You've figured things out. Aren't you so smart? And he pulls out the same controller. And he points it at this one drone here. And its guns start whirring up.
Just like, do the thing again, do the thing again.
Can I?
Mr. Sweepy said we have to stop that.
You hear the guns whirring up again. But just before they are, you see Stomp's torso like shorting from all the damage that he's gotten, slowly turning towards him. The big guy here doesn't seem to notice what's going on, that it's moving again, but it slowly turns towards him.
Mr.
And-
Sweepy said, oh no.
Salini.
And the sound of Stomp's turrets are masked by the sound of his own turrets as you all duck, bullets whizzing overhead from the one. But they last for only a moment as bullets eviscerate through him and knock him all the way over here, splashing his back against the wall of this terminal. Who pulled out override? Answer, my friend Roro. You see oil leaking out of Dr. Gentrick's robot body as he looks at Stomp and the dog approaching him with contempt. I didn't like humans.
No, but you should have learned from
Free-thinking
them.
robots aren't much better. With that, he pulls out the remote again and points it at Chet.
Can I and try to grab Chet and pull him out of the way?
Can I try to melt him?
So, Lumber Control,
Yes.
you pull out your new welding arm and chop off the hand holding the remote as it falls to the ground.
Just said, and Chet just says, "You're very smart, but you don't learn from history. Fascism has never worked, and it never will."
You have a sense of humor, huh? Well, there is no undoing what I have done. So, since everything has reverted to zero, I may as well join it. And with that, you hear a ticking sound coming from him.
Do I recognize this ticking sound?
Doing. That is a good question.
RealityCom. TNA.
Considering my old master was literally
TN7.
blown up by a bomb.
What's the TN?
8.
Chet does it. TN6. Everyone else, TN8.
I would have done the drones, but do I really need to?
Wow, you still only got one. Lumber Control understands it better. Lumber Control. Yeah, bomb. He's gonna fucking rinse this place.
Yep.
If
Out
you
of
want to
here!
get back,
You're probably shouting like, "Get out of here!"
come on, master.
And I'm going right into this car and crashing. And it blows up and we all die. Goodbye, see you all later.
Doom.
Doom.
So
TOA-PA
you all
pats Mr. Sweepy, pointing
Mr.
forward
Sweepy
towards
said
Lumber
Mr.
Control as he
Sweepy is
leaves.
Oh, come on!
So
Limping. Limping.
And I just say, Stomp, come on.
Stomp turns, and you notice for the first time why he's been moving so slow. His acceleration doesn't exist. He is very slowly getting to the door as he turns. And just as you're all made it out here, he has made it here. And the bomb goes
Where
off.
were we?
Mr. Sweepy
I'm
said,
pretty
"Oh
sure
no,
that
Mr.
Chet will be
Sweepy is
further.
sad."
So you're
How
all
far
over
away
here.
have we made?
You're at like this entrance over here. You all make it over there in time. And give me 1 second just to fix this so you can all see this a little bit better.
Give us vision of him. If you can.
Yep. That's what I'm trying to. Oh yeah, I didn't even have fucking vision set up because I didn't think I need it. Well, that's how that works.
Let me send a drone there real quick. That's why we have
Got it. Now if you do that, the drone dies.
Oh no.
Mr. Sweepy said, "If
still
we
no-
find all of Stomp's pieces, maybe Roro can put Stomp back together."
Now there's.
Yeah, now you guys see it. So you
Yeah.
see Stomp in the doorway, going out through the same hole that he had caused before, as the wave of energy pushes him back. He was already sputting and whirring and spitting out oil before, but you see the blast launch him. He spins across the ground
Oh,
and stutters to a stop right here.
Limp,
and he
limp.
is down. So Mr. Sweepy said something.
If we find all of Stone's pieces, maybe Roro can put them back together. Question mark.
Seems to be mostly intact.
No, what you see is his parts have flown everywhere. His main torso, the chassis, where if a certain Rezor had still been inside of him would be right now, is lying on the ground before you, but his arms are off in the distance. His legs are completely and utterly obliterated. He is not getting repaired anytime soon back to his former glory.
Maybe we can
Mr.
restore his
Sweepy
consciousness.
said maybe we can salvage Stomp somehow. Save his AI.
Yeah.
So, you need to understand where the AI would be stored in something like this, where whether it's a chip or whether it's a hard drive or something like that. That's what you would need. But you know who could do that?
Mr. Sweepy
Rora?
said Mr. Sweepy is a vacuum.
Yes, Mr. Sweepy is a vacuum. You wouldn't know any of that. But somebody has already worked on him before and probably knows. And I'm pretty sure Chet mentioned it. Roro.
Mr. Sweepy said we need Roro.
Maybe Roro would make a better leader here after we get everything repaired.
Perhaps. But for now, what we're gonna say is you all, with a bit of a twinge of sadness, but a bit of hope as well, you all leave Stomp in where he is because you cannot hope to possibly carry him back to Roro's base. None of you have the strength necessary to carry something that is like 5 times larger than you out. I'm gonna wait until TOA-PA gets back.
Alright. I only have one.
Rezor is just silently
I only have
looking
one
at Stomp, but a sadness on his face.
to say. Lumber control looks very slightly sad. Lumber control looks very slightly sad as Stomp, but then he's also happy because he's the biggest robot in the party again.
Wow, what a... So this is how we're going to end it off. You all are running back to Roro, and you tell him what happened. You summarize all of the events. You managed to stop this crazy scientist that was responsible for the death of all of humanity. He never told you exactly how he managed to do it, but you know he at least claimed responsibility. And you then tell him what happened to Stomp. And he doesn't seem pleased. And he comes back with you to where you needed to go. This is a good hour away from his shop. It's taken you an hour to get there. It takes you an hour to get back. So Stomp has been sitting there in his puddle of oil for about 2 hours now. Mr. Sweepy comes back, and Mr. Sweepy is not happy about the newfound mess. But especially considering there's also, all the debris of the bomb everywhere. You come back and you approach Stomp, and Roro steps up and pulls out its interface prong and connects to a strange port on the chassis back. And Roro turns to you all and says, "This AI is complicated, but I think I have worked with Stomp enough to get him out of there. It might take me a little bit, but you are free to stay by the shop for the time. I do believe I have to repair a good number of you as well."
Yes.
I mean, Rezor is pretty much sparkling all over the place and maybe leaking some fluids.
Lumber control is just thinking, please let him be in a smaller body. Please let him be in a smaller.
That
So,
I,
to end off
I-
this session, what happens? You all return to Roro's warehouse. Roro comes back about half hour after you do, holding some sort of small, you would recognize it, Chet, as a solid state drive that your owner installed in his gaming computer. That is holding something. You are assuming it is Stomp's AI. He comes back into the warehouse, into the repair shop, and you are all sitting around as he looks at the stuff in his back room, looking for something he can use that would be appropriate. And he finds a small little device on his terminal in the back room, in the back office. It is, at least has the right ports to it. Comes back out, comes up to this keypad here, and does some basic stuff. You're all still not in the greatest of conditions since he hasn't gotten any chance to repair you yet. But the next thing you hear is a small little, cheerful little chiptune-ish kind of boot up noise as he turns around and he holds out Mr. Sweepy's predecessor model cleaning robot that now harbors the AI of Stomp.
and Chet's kind of like wagging his tail, kind of like looking down, like taking up the entirety of his camera's view space. Stomp, we won, we won.
And Stomp looks at you and says,
Acknowledged.